Hi everybody, it's Renee from Create and Play with Renee. I am doing a video today for a couple reasons. For many of you who actually know me personally or friends with me on Facebook, you will have known that my family suffered a tremendous loss earlier in February. My cousin was murdered by her significant other. And it's been very tough on my family. I'm first cousins with her dad, and we have a very small family, so it's been awful, and I feel horrible for the family. She also is, she was almost 23, she's 23 in a few days, and she has a very young son. He's 16 months old, and now he's left without parents. So it's been a really tough time for my family. And in honor of my cousin, I wanted to do a page basically to honor her. So I am going to do that, and with that I am going to use the new Distress Oxide and the Distress Spray, the Kitsch Flamingo from Tim Holtz, in honor of her. So I just wanted to make this video and just tell everybody that things are bad. We are in a pandemic. I feel horrible for anybody who's struggling, whether it's mentally or with whatever your home situation is. But please know, if something is awful, you need to reach out to somebody and get some help. There's always options. And domestic violence is never something you want to stay in, and you definitely don't want your kids witnessing that. So I just wanted to touch base on that. Just give a little insight into what it is and why I'm creating what I'm creating. And I don't want this to be overly sad. I just wanted to basically say what the premise is regarding this. So now I'm going to do a very happy, fun, and hopefully a layout that you will like with some techniques. So thanks for letting me share with you, and we're going to do the process now. So I decided to do a layout. I don't normally do 2-page layouts, and these white papers were taken from a book, so I'm just going to cut off the edges, and we'll go from there. So what I've decided to use is some pink paper that I'm going to put behind the white, and I'm going to be using bits and pieces of the One Canoe Two Willow line, and there's a whole bunch of different nice pretty pictures like that. Look at that, beautiful, and colors and tones that I thought would go perfect with what I'm trying to do. I'm going to use some of the ephemera and some of the cardstock stickers, as well as using these and this. And I am going to use some washi as well. So I'm going to put all of that and incorporate it into a layout to basically just kind of memorialize, I guess, my cousin. And I'm going to do that now. So this is not going to be a sad video. It's going to be a technique video and just some ideas and whatnot. But I just wanted to basically, just like I said before, lay out what I am doing. So we're gonna work with this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim down our white paper. And like I said, and most of you may already know, I don't do a lot of 2-page layouts. I honestly almost do none. So it is rare I do them. I am going to cut off, this is a 12 by 12. I'm going to cut off 2 inches here and on the other side. So we're going to make our paper a 10 by 10. And I'm going to do that with both the white sheets. So I will cut that off again, 10 by 10. And the next thing I'm going to do after that is I'm going to put our ink down. And I know for some of you, you may or may not use some of the mixed media, and you don't have to. You can just leave it if you want. So you can always go ahead if you want. When I'm using my mixed media, I tend to usually like to go to the flat size because this is Basil cardstock. I don't always like to use the textured side. I don't know why, but I'm not a huge fan of the textured. I like to actually use the flat more than anything. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to use the Kitsch Flamingo Distress Oxide and the Kitsch Flamingo Spray Stain, as well as the Distress Crayon in Abandoned Coral, just to have two different shades. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to move my papers off. This has a little bit of these two colors on already because I used them in a different project. But what I'm going to do, I think you see this, I'm just going to put a little bit of our crayon. You don't need much because there's a lot of pigment on there. And I am going to put both of these on here. So this is the oxide, and this is the spray. Don't need much of that as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to spray our oxide and spray our pen, or our crayon. I'll give this just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to move this over. Hopefully you can still see it though. I'm going to do a page at a time. Got my paintbrush. I'm going to do the dark color first. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a swirl, and I'm going to flick. And now I'm going to move this over to this one. Same thing. Give it a little bit of a flick. And honestly, because this is a 2-page layout, you want to try and keep in mind how you want these to go together. So you don't want them to be totally off from each other, because it's all going to flow together. All right, so I'm going to give this a little bit of a wipe off. And I'm going to go now to what was our distress spray. And I'm going to do a little bit of the darker. Now, because I want this to kind of tie into each other. So I'm going to do that. Get a little bit more. If you need to use more water, you can, but you don't want to saturate it too much. Okay, so there we go with that. Next I'm going to do, and this is going to give us a lot of ink, so I'm going to pat dry it just a little bit. And if you had a different sheet of paper, you could put a little bit of your color onto something else so you don't waste it, but I'm not going to do that this time. I am going to now smudge. Smush it. Same with this. And give it a little, you can call this a smushing technique, a kissing technique, whatever you want. But we're giving it some color. And we'll come back to some of that later. So there's that. And I'll get a little bit still here. I'll give that a little bit there and a little bit here. All right, so we'll let that dry for a second. While I'm letting that dry, I'm going to go through some of these embellishments. And like I said, this is the Willow One Canoe Two from them. And there's 40 die cut shapes in here. I am going to pull out some of the ones I think we may want to use for this kind of a layout. You could use whatever you wanted to for yours. Again, I'm trying to go for happy. And normally with this, I pull out my little cubby, which I usually use for die cuts. So I pull my little cubby. It's great to put these in a place where you can kind of keep them separate and you don't lose them, because there's a lot of small pieces to these too. All right, so with this, It's easy to weed out, and I usually weed out and put them in the cubby which ones I'm not going to use. So I'm not going to use these. This line is kind of somewhat of, like, I'd say what makes your soul happy, gardening, you know, that kind of thing. Lots of plants, which I really liked. One thing that's part of this, in a sense, my aunt and uncle, who are her grandparents, they own a nursery on an island off of BC, and have for years. And yeah, you know, it's one of those things where she was surrounded by beautiful plants and beautiful flowers and just a beautiful place, to be honest. So when she was with my grandparents, it was a gorgeous place to be. So I'm going to go off of that because I believe that is going to be her resting place. So some of these really work well. So I will use those. Butterflies are always good. So go through those, find out which ones we want. Birds are good. And then we go to the sticker sheet, which those ones are easier to go through because you can see them at a glance. So I'm going to pull them out, and this is probably folded over. So we have some of the same ones we already saw, like these flowers are perfect. The butterflies are perfect. We might use some of these. Yeah, like this actually, many of these work. So we will use some of these. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the pictures. So it gives you an idea of what it is I am working with. And it kind of brings you some light into things. This picture had some issues printing, but my printer broke, so I'm just going to use it. This was a luminaria on the island. It was absolutely gorgeous. Many of these people are my family members, but there's this is my cousin. So many of these were, and I absolutely love this picture. Like, it just is gorgeous. They had a whole bunch of snow then, and it just, yeah, it was beautiful. I wish I could have been there, but we're also in a pandemic, so that's just not doable. But anyways, this is what I thought would go really well with that because the colors really go, right? So I will show you this. That's how that will look. And then when we go into some of these pages, so you've got something like that. This is the back side, which I'm not going to use that back side. We have that, which I'm not going to use that because that's a full page. But we could use that, so I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm going to use that color scheme or not because it doesn't really go. This one I really like. Might use that. This one to tie in all the greenery. That one's kind of dark, but it kind of offsets a lot of things. And then we also have this one, which is very pretty. And then we have the flowers there. So I'm going to pull out some pieces, I'm going to cut up some stuff, and then I'm going to show you what I came up with.
Shoulders burning, the sun's got me concept. Every time I look, I'm getting older. Everyone around me's getting richer. Let's drive till we're closer. Live like the kids. Live like the kids. Live like the kids. Life passes by. I give up the games that I play in my mind. Learn how to fly. Keep telling my heart I'm still alive. Everyone around me's getting older. Everyone around me's getting richer. Everyone around me's finding out to give. Live like the kids. Live like the kids. Live like the kids. Live like the shoulders burning, the sun's got me dried out. Kick ups and all these things got me laughing. Throw back to the youth, understanding. Shut off indulgence. Live like the kids. Live like the kids. Mistakes, lovers too young to plan yet. Control emotions, no, there's no concept. Every time I look, I'm getting older. Everyone around me's getting richer. Let's drive till we're closer. Live like the kids. Live like the kids. Live like the kids. takes lovers too young to plan yet. Control emotions, no, there's no concept. Every time I look, I'm getting older. Everyone around me's getting richer. Let's drive till we're closer. Live like the kids. Live like the kids. Live like the kids. Life passes by. I give up the games that I play in my mind. When I fly.
So that's the layout I created for my cousin. Hopefully she would have enjoyed that, and I will add maybe a small picture of her afterwards, but I just wanted to kind of basically pay tribute to her, and I also wanted to show you a way you can do that without having it overly sad. So I just wanted to share this video with you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and again, going back to what I said at the beginning, if you ever need help, there's always somebody that's willing to listen and willing to help you out, so please do not stay in a situation like this. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.